Listen up here. The restaurant industry is grueling and unpredictable, just like this show, from the front of the house to the back of the house and all in between. We will turn up the heat, you turn up the volume. I'm Chef Antonio Caruana. Welcome to the Tell All Podcast, The Burnt Hands Perspective.
This podcast contains explicit and potentially offensive material. You've been warned. Now buckle up, bitches. Let's go.
All right, here we are with a great chef today. I'm excited about this. We've been trying to lock this dude down.
Local legend, infamous.
Local legend, Chef Alvin from Cobalt.
Cobalt Grille, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Somewhere I've been going for 20
I want to say, I was going to say, I think that she might be there more than you, bro.
Well,
well, introduce yourself.
well, I'm Alvin Williams, Chef Alvin Williams. Cobalt Grille is the name of my restaurant. We're in Virginia Beach. We've been there. This is year 25. We opened in October 11th, 2000.
Wow.
And you're saying it so smoothly like that's not 25 years
It's
ago.
25 years.
Last time I slept.
Yeah, bro. Let me tell you something, man.
Yeah.
25 years is in this industry. Everybody who's watching this pretty much knows and understands our industry, and that's why you're fucking watching it. But it is not an easy industry to live in. It's not an easy industry to succeed in, and it's definitely not an easy industry to stay in for 25 years, especially in one spot.
But
One location.
Yeah, it is
And one,
location.
you've never changed locations.
Nope.
Same
Always been
restaurant.
Hilltop.
Yeah.
So I remember 25 years ago when they opened, right?
Yep.
And it still is, but I remember the hype of it, just the word. I'm like, Cobalt. What is Cobalt? I was so young then, I didn't even know it was a fucking blue.
Well, this
You know
is
what I mean?
Yeah. And there was a lot of confusion as to where the name came from. And really, we just liked the color. And that color was kind of
Oh, really?
hip at the time.
Yeah, it was,
Cobalt
right?
blue.
Right,
We
Cobalt
also-
blue, yeah.
We also wanted to do many other different restaurants. And that was one of those things. We were going to do cobalt and copper and all these earth things.
Yeah, it
So,
was. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
there
had
was
plans.
kind of a trend of that.
Yeah.
That's
So
yeah.
and then what happened though? So you were going to do multiple restaurants in your scheme of things. Everything seemed perfect, right? Yeah. Shit hit the fan when?
When you first start working in a restaurant and you were like, I mean, literally, I knew it was going to be hard work. I knew that. And I was used to hard work, and that's never been a problem. And when I built the place, I put a shower in there. So I pretty much never left. I had a shower, a locker room, and I was there 20 hours a day.
Now, what you're talking about, what he's talking about right now, for all those who don't know, I just had a quick conversation with him before this, and I have this almost like a inquisitive love for UK, Europe, in their way of doing things there, and the whole system of stuff. That shower in the kitchen is not far from reality, from where it is you come from.
Yeah.
Here, it's a little drastic.
Yeah,
not
well,
for me.
It was not actually in the kitchen. It was at the back.
No.
I
Understood.
mean, which would make it
Well,
really interesting. for
Regardless, so
everybody.
I thought when I built this place, I honestly thought about putting a shower with a bedroom and a thing like so I can stay here.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
totally
this is not out of the normal for people like us, and definitely people with you. And you're coming from the UK.
Yeah. So my background, I was born in England. My parents are Jamaican. I went to culinary school in England right out of high school, and I did real well with it and ended up working in London. And a lot of those restaurants that you work in there, you are there 18 hours a day. So it's pretty common to have showers and locker rooms there because you don't even have time to go home, because you can't live in central London because it's too expensive. So you got to live out in the suburbs. It's like New York, Manhattan, you go out to Queens or Brooklyn. So here I was living in Hammersmith and Fulham, and I lived in Leytonstone and all on the outskirts. So by the time you leave work at midnight, and luckily to either get a bus or the tube home, you're back on the tube again at 6 a.m. to get back into work by 7.
then, yeah.
yeah.
You had no other choice.
And it's almost contracted there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So over in Europe and Italy, when I go there and work with the chefs there, I joke with the kids saying, "Hey, you need to come over and work." And they're there 6 months. They have they're not leaving for a year or two. They have a contract signed. Unlike here, these guys want to raise after 2 minutes, and these guys have a contract. You're screwed. So go on.
It's interesting. So so working that lifestyle was great. It's very regimented, but you get to learn so much. But you're in it. You're just in it. That's all you know. That's all you work. That's all you talk about. You know, you finish work, you go out for a drink, you talk in shop. On occasion, you get to go out to the clubs, and then you leave the club, and you pretty much go back to the
Right
hotel,
back
Going,
get a shower.
you're going to work with a hangover.
Yeah.
You go to
Sure.
oh yeah.
How old were you during that time? Like,
19, 20, 21.
So this was like yeah. Is it? I mean, what's the drinking age there? Were you able to go to clubs when you were?
Yeah. You start the drinking age legally in England is 18.
Okay.
So you
were out.
You start when you're 14, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You buy little suits.
You were seasoned.
I was seasoned, yeah. And then it gets boring after when you get to
Pickled.
the age where you're supposed to.
When you're supposed to drink.
When you're supposed to drink, yeah.
Well, I think that's the whole point of it too. So you start drinking when you're 18. By the time you're 21, you've already freaking starting your adult life.
Yeah. Well, then I was moving here, in the process of moving here, but I was 21, had my 21st birthday, and it was no big deal because you'd already been drinking for 5
Wasn't it? Okay, so that's when you came to the States.
But when I was there, the walking was my friend because you're hungover and you just go hang out in the walk.
Yeah, sure.
Cool off and
I've been there many times. Been there so many times, too many times. So coming up in cooking in the UK, you were there. You went to chef school there. There are some. Now I have, like I told you at the beginning of this, I have this weird fetish, I guess you could say, for UK. Because I've always wondered why some of the best chefs we know of in the fucking world come from the UK. Why the UK has so many Michelin stars, so many proteges. Everyone comes from the UK, but however, it's never talked about unless you study up on it. Why is this?
I'm not sure the reason why, but what I know is, and what my experience was, is that a lot of the best chefs were in London, but they were French chefs, and they were Danish, and they were German, and they were Belgian. And these are the guys that you learn from, and they have the skills. And, so you end up learning different languages too. I learned Flemish, and I learned a little German, a little French, and, kitchen speak. I wasn't fluent.
Kitchen talk, right?
Kitchen talk. You
enough to survive.
Enough to survive. What they need, what they want it now. What the vegetables are. Go to the walk-in and get this. But these chefs were so great, and Europe's competitive, and England was great in certain things. Pubs and pub grub and that kind of stuff. Not really food. The food was pretty basic. You got fish and chips, and people always talk about roast beef. So the French people call us roast beef, and we call them frog's legs. So it's a banter and a rivalry between these European countries. But everyone, for some reason, gravitated to London in England, and I think it's probably got something to do with finance,
locality,
and locality and finance, and what people could afford, and they could afford these expensive meals, and the best chefs ended up in London.
Wouldn't you say London is more like a melting pot too, because it's almost like Manhattan or something because of the English speaking? Everybody at some point in time can always run to an English speaking place. Yeah. I think if they're coming from everywhere else, and there's a lot of, it's like the gateway to the rest of Europe maybe. Totally. Or they're getting out of Europe, rather, both ways, and you got, so look, Marco Pierre White brought through many chefs. He worked with Mario Batali, even, or it came through him.
Marco was number one.
Of course, still.
He had Harvey's, that restaurant. It was just legendary. And he was what America's Anthony Bourdain is. He was
sure.
That type of, he was a rebel. He was a workaholic.
But he was good too.
Excellent.
He was good. I mean, he was the inventor of so many methods and traditions, and he doesn't even want to admit it now. I think now that he's getting older, he's starting to take claim for some stuff, but rightfully so.
And he was one of the ones who got the stars first.
Sure.
3 stars, and gave them back.
And the forks.
Really?
He's got everything.
My God.
He gave his stars back.
He gave his star back because he didn't want to compete. He didn't want to.
It was too much pressure.
Wow.
His mentality is, and he's got a great mentality, is that how are people who don't know half the shit I know judging me on what I know?
Yes.
And he's like, keep your damn standards. So, it's a great point. So, it gets me excited talking about this. You have Jamie Oliver. That kid is a kid. He's my age, maybe a little younger. But that guy is amazing. I mean, the stuff that guy cooks on a normal, he may not be as accolades may not be as strong, but his food and his cooking and his delivery and everything is.
And he was a great advocate for children
in
schools, and their school meals, and he did great programs with that, making sure that the kids in Britain ate healthy. And Jamie Oliver's, he's good.
I get Samsung products, so I can get Samsung TV, so I can watch the Jamie Oliver network on Flip all the time. And but then again, you got Gordon Ramsay. He came from Marco Pierre White. All these great chefs. Now that list of Michelin chefs is long, and I'm going back to when I'm talking about the older ones we all know, because I stopped having the ability and the luxury of following these chefs anymore. Okay. So the newer ones I don't really have locked down. I know who they are, just basic, but I don't know them as much as I do them.
But before Marco and Gordon Ramsay, there was Albert and Michel Roux.
Yeah.
These guys, they had the Gavroche.
Sure.
And that was right around the corner from where I used to work. And to this day, one of my biggest regrets is I used to see Albert Roux every morning park his car. He used to drive this old 5 Series BMW on Park Street. And I'm walking into work in the loading dock, and I just wanted to say, can I come and work in your kitchen? Free. I would have done it free. And I was just so scared because he was such an icon. He was a little short guy. But, but he was the best, you know.
Wow.
And I regret to this day not asking him.
He probably would have said, yeah, why not?
Now I know that.
Looking back, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially free.
Sure.
Yeah, free labor. He's like, come on in.
But those are the times you get the best. And those, some of the best, you know.
Anton Mosselman and all those. There's all these great French guys that Gordon Ramsay.
We were talking earlier in one of our earlier episodes that we just filmed not too long ago about this very thing. You want to go work for free while other people want to get a raise the second week they're there. Yeah. You know, you look at guys like Grant Achatz and stuff. These are the guys who went and worked for free. Yep. They went to Charlie Trotter and asked him, can I work for you for free? And then went to Thomas Keller, can I work for you for free? And then they get the job because of their determination and their grit. And that's where I like to be in that type of realm myself. I like to do that. I work my ass off for free now because a lot of the restaurant's mine.
The money comes later, and I think what happens is that the generation nowadays, because of the internet and because of YouTube and all those things, I think they see the gratification immediately, and they want that immediately. So some, I'm not saying all, but maybe most, are not willing to put in that work, especially not to work for free. I mean, it's hard to work for free.
It's very nice to put a plate that you plate, okay? If you plate a plate, you have your sauce nice, you have your everything's perfect, your sous vide is done perfectly, and you crisp it off nice, and you braise everything right, and you put it on a plate perfectly, you take your pictures and get 7,000 likes on it. Yeah. That's great because they're looking for those likes. But they have no idea what it takes to do that every single day, day in and day out, all day, 25 years in a row at the same restaurant. I mean, it's not reality.
If you make a sauce, you know, you make a demi-glaze or something, you start that sauce 3 days ago. You know, you get your stock on, you're gonna brown off your bones and your onions and your mirepoix and the whole thing, and then you got to reduce it down. I mean, it takes 3 days to make. Then
you got to figure out what you're going to do at night. You got to figure out how many hours you have off, or you can go home and simmer it.
Can I leave it on?
Can I leave it on? Can I leave it off? There's a couch right over there before every big holiday where I have these big specials. People are like, well, why aren't you doing the ossobuco? Because I honestly don't have 14 fucking hours today. I don't.
You don't have the time.
I don't have
or the space.
And I could rig it and do it a quick version of it, or I can do it right. It's
not the same.
You know? If I want to keep that marrow right, if I want to keep everything from collapsing, if I want to keep my meat from sliding down that bone, that takes hours.
That's where taste and the involvement of the experience of the dining comes into play, because you have to taste it and be there and smell it. Whereas on the screen, you can see that sauce in the sheet.
I don't know if it tastes good.
And you don't know if it tastes good. They could have taken them 20 minutes to make.
Yeah. Well, you still have that brigade style. I mean, in your kitchen, how has the kitchen changed over the years for you? Coming from that old school to now.
I mean, I started off as a commis chef, which is the lowest of the low, and I was just learning by proximity. I mean, I was working in a hotel kitchen, and right next to it was a Michelin star restaurant. It's called 90 Park Lane back then, and I used to be able to jump over on the line and help them and learn a little bit. So that's where I learned. But you go from commis chef to first commis, chef de partie, junior sous. I mean, the brigades were big there.
And then up to chef de cuisine all the way through.
Yeah.
So the brigade systems were big because each station had their own person. You had your saucier, you had your fish, you had your meats.
One person doing veg, one person doing sauce, one person doing sauces, fish. Yeah, the whole day.
Totally different world here, where we don't have that luxury anymore because you simply don't have enough of one. We just don't have that style of cooking here. It's tough.
It's different. And one of the reasons I left there was I was working real hard in London, and I was doing really well. And one day my sous chef said to me, he says, well, you've kind of reached as far as you can go. Because I kept asking for promotions, you know, not money, but I want to do a different section. I want to get higher. I was like, no, for your age, you're good. This is where you stay here. You'll be here for a couple of years. And I was like, this is not right.
This is some bullshit.
I know I can do better.
You want to work harder.
I wanted to work harder. And then my sister at the time was living over here in New York. And I came over and hung out with her, and it was a little too much like London. I said, I can't do this. But then I had another sister who was here, and she'd married a Navy guy and was stationed in Norfolk, and she lived in Virginia Beach. I said, let me go hang out with her for a while. And I was hanging out in Virginia Beach and just loved it. The ocean, shopping malls. We didn't have shopping malls in England, you know, and it was just beautiful. And I got real lucky. Somebody told me about they were doing a green card lottery. I don't know if you've heard of such a thing. Anyway, I entered for this green card lottery and won a green card in the second year.
Oh, okay.
Which meant that I got to stay and work because I was having to go back and forth.
So if you had a green card, you could be putting a lottery to keep it?
No, once you got the green card, it was yours for 5 years, and then you had to renew it. And then eventually they ask you to become a citizen.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I did. Got sworn in by Pete Decker. It was cool.
There you go.
Really?
Nice. Pete.
Oh, Uncle Pete.
Shout
oh
out
my
to Pete.
gosh.
Yeah.
We love and miss you.
Yeah. So that was my story of being here. And once I was here, I worked in restaurants where they valued you for who you were and what you could do, and not for your age group. So I found you could get a lot further in life.
So what did you notice most about the cuisine change? When you were over there, you were doing all the stuff. If you're next door to a Michelin restaurant, that flows over a little bit. Yeah. You may be a pub in England making fish and chips, but I guarantee they're fucking good.
There it was major service. Like on your plate was maybe your protein and your sauce.
Steps of service.
Everything else was on the side. Your legumes, your vegetables came on one plate. Your starch came in a different plate. It was all, your sauce came in a little, it was major.
So just setting up for that, just setting up for all you who don't know the budget of what we put up with here, I try and do different steps of service here too. My proteins come a la carte and all the sides come on separate plates and everything's separated different. But what it goes through to get the steps of service, meaning the utensils and the pourers and the boats and everything we need to make this happen. You hear smash, there's another one.
Right.
Smash, there's another one. There's a chip on this plate, a break on that one.
$10. There goes, yeah.
It's all money.
It's all money,
and
everything.
Chemicals, and dishwashers, and
Yeah,
that
right.
kind of stuff.
And it all breaks,
Yeah,
no matter what.
yeah.
You just take your money, crumble it up, and say, we're going to use
We're
this
just going to throw
$1,000.
this,
We're going to use it for about a week, and then we're just going to light it
We're
on
gonna
fire.
throw it in the trash.
It's gone now.
Well, this is actually, this brings up a point we want to talk to you about too, because your menu, I mean, really your menu hasn't changed too much over time. You've kept staple things, and there's
a couple reasons for that.
Well, one of the reasons
right.
I want to talk to you about was cost, because one of your like signature dishes, and you have a lot of signature dishes that people in this area, like if you took them off the menu, they'd probably murder you when you're walking outside.
That's the problem we have here.
So one of the signatures on your appetizers is the scallops Rockefeller.
Oh, yeah.
And that has been there for a long time. And we were just talking about the cost of scallops right now. So, I mean, you're dealing with
Do you want to punch a scallop guy in the
Yeah.
face? Bro, I'm telling you right now, I want to go down to Wanchese and get on the boat, and I'm gonna act like a scallop guy and act like they don't know me with the little glasses and the mustache.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of the water, I'm gonna just pull off the
Shove 'em.
shit and say, "All right, let's go.
Shove
We're
them
doing
off the
this."
boat.
I just asked the scallop guy. I was just at a food show last week, and I said, "What is going on with the price of scallops, and why are they so expensive?" And he went into this long dissertation about.
Well, of course, they have their little script they got to rehearse.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
But it's not good, and they're expensive. What do you do with that? Do you pass that cost on to the customer?
We have to.
Or do you suck it up and take a loss? Do you know?
What do you do, bro?
Well, what have you done? Because it is a staple. Like people know that appetizer, and they go there
Yeah.
specifically for that.
And so that appetizer's there because people love it. And then you take it off, and then they're like, because people always say, well, when are you going to change the menu? And you have to make way for things. So you take things off the menu to make way for new things. And then they get upset because you took off one of their favorite things. So that appetizer is still on, and I'm charging the same price right now. So we're not making as much margin on that. I mean, we're in the restaurant business to make money.
That one you're not really making money on.
Not right now, but at some point, if the prices don't come back down on the scallops, then we've got to pass it on to the customer.
I unfortunately had to pass it on. We go through so many U8s here,
Yeah.
and I run a U8, which is the biggest scallop we can pretty much get here. And they're beautiful and they're succulent. They're great, but they're starting to become non-existent. And those fishermen guys are going to tell you it's because they're no different. You just don't want to fish for them no more because nobody wants to pay you your stupid money. And that's the thing. So they're going to be actually in huge abundance because I know you're not pulling them out of the water.
They're out there.
They're out there. So
we all need to get a boat.
So I
Maybe
have
all
to,
the chefs in the area need to get a boat and just go in.
You know, if it was up to me, when these things happen, almost like gas prices, if all the chefs in one region would just come together and say, let's just not buy scallops for friggin' a month, guarantee they'll come down because the fishermen are going to run out of money fast.
Yeah.
They're robbing us. They're all robbing us. And I don't have a problem saying that. That's the beauty of this podcast. We can say whatever we want,
Well,
you know?
then we're robbing our clients of what they want.
That's right. So I have to go to market pricing on it. So I have to go to market because if I don't, we have to cut it out because they're going so ridiculous. Look, something that used to cost us $180 is now $390.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
The gas prices went down, so it ain't the boat.
Right. So
What happened?
I bought a 1020 dry scallops, and they were, which was high, $115, $120. Sure. Now it's over $200.
Correct.
But
So doubled.
The same price.
Yeah, 50%. Or
But I can't double the price of that dish on the menu because it's going to look ridiculous.
That's going to look
Yeah,
ridiculous.
you'd have an appetizer at $28. Like, I mean, or
that's
$30.
New York, that's Chicago.
Right, and
Yeah.
the customer just simply doesn't want to hear it.
They don't.
Understand, and I don't blame them. They don't understand. They don't want to care why it costs us so much money. We try and keep our margins in the same percentage rate all the time. I'm not robbing anybody. Matter of fact, like you said, I know my scallops are ridiculous right now, so I'm not going to necessarily take a hit so much on the scallop, but I am going to have to raise the price on stuff that has a much bigger margin, so we can make up for it. So we don't hit them on the scallops.
I think our guests are starting to learn, though, just by them going to the grocery store and buying things, and things are so much more expensive in the grocery store. So they have to know that it's costing us the same. We're getting the same raise.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
So they're starting to understand now why our prices are going up. Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to go to the grocery store and buy a whole bunch of things, and then most of it usually goes to waste?
Right.
Most of it.
Right. So and that was,
So you can go to a restaurant, you buy your meal. It's a little more expensive than it used to be,
and it's good.
but it's
Still on par with, well, I mean, as the like home cook out of the three of us, like, I mean, I cook at home quite a bit, and I cook everything just from learning in the restaurants over the years. So, but I can go, like, say because we don't get cheap meat, so I'll go get good steaks or good salmon. And I'm going to spend, probably $25-30 per steak at this grocery store. Sure. And then I have to buy the sides, and it's going to take me an hour to cook it. Yeah. Then I have to clean up. Yeah. So really, that $30 for a steak, if I come somewhere and pay 50 or 60 with the sides, everything, not having to do it, like, is that really that much more? It's not. I mean, so a lot of people I know, and even in other countries, like, the groceries are so expensive, it is cheaper to eat in a restaurant.
People complain about the wine, too. They'll be like, well, I've seen this wine. I can get similar at, the wine store or something. I'm like, well, you get your glass and sit in the wine store and drink your wine. Or do you want to come to a nice environment where we are, have somebody open it, talk about wine, learn something from the sommelier, have a nice, experience.
You're paying for a lot more than just the food on your plate. You're paying for everybody else that's there.
I had a conversation with a gentleman the other day, last week, and we were talking about this very thing, and it was a customer asking, and I used the reference of going shopping. You go shopping for yourself. Oh yeah, it's crazy. The prices are nuts. You are shopping for two people. Okay, we are shopping for 300 a night. We're buying enough meat for 300 orders, not just you buying your one at home. So we have to break that down to everything that we have that's going to go bad, all the fat we have to trim, all the butchering we have to do, the weight of those bones that we're just going to try and hopefully get a demi out of or something,
And that's also a risk because we don't know. Not everyone makes a reservation. So we don't know if everyone's coming tonight.
Variables.
So you don't want to, buy too much food.
Sure.
And then have it go to waste.
And then you have the reservation like we had last night at 12 Top. If you're listening, fuck yourself. We had a 12 Top last night that decided 30 minutes that they weren't coming to it. I wish I had their name. I'd call them right out. And then we have on the reservation platform that you have to pay a fine. That's the way it is now because people are now cruising through in their
making
jockeying.
3 or 4 reservations, so they have tables and they're canceling 3 of them.
So we lost a 12 Top last night, which in turn we lost another 4 Top because we had to use that 4 Top to make the 12.
Right. Yeah.
So they don't understand that we lost 12 plus the 4.
And they do that on a regular night where they
Tuesday. On Monday night, last night.
I find that they do that with us on special occasions. If it's New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve or those days,
They want to book 2 or 3 places because they want to figure out where their friends want to go, and then they make a final decision. But by the time they make the final decision, it's 30 minutes before.
Sure.
Sometimes they don't even let you know. So you've refused people. Even people come in walk-ins. You said no, sorry, that table's sold, and then they don't show up.
And that's lost revenue. I mean, each and every one of those seats. That's
our PSA for the general public that's listening.
Sure.
Don't be a douchebag.
Don't be a douche.
Don't be a douchebag.
And not only
and
say the
actually
11.
stick to it.
My daughter last night. My daughter had the flu, so we can't come. All right, so did the 11 others too had the flu? Because I don't understand how they all had the flu.
Everybody?
I don't understand.
So you ruining everybody's dinner
So
just because your kid is sick?
It's crazy.
I'd be like, no, we're still going out. Like my kid, they'll survive.
Okay.
they'll be fine. Just give them some NyQuil.
Some Robitussin.
Yeah, give them Tussin. Put them in bed. They're fine. They'll be there tomorrow when you get home.
Now, when you're cooking in your restaurant, like she said, your menu has staples on it. So do I. And my guests have come to love it in both restaurants. And if you take it off, you're going to scare them away somewhat. So I run specials a lot. Every week I'll run new specials and I'll get a feel for them. And then I'll replace, like you said, make way with some of those that come on good. And I love creating and I love doing that. My genre is Italian. That's where I come out of. So a lot of my stuff is multi-regional. I have the luxury of having regions in Italy that are so abundant in such amazing ingredients that I can just grab and keep going and inventing and come up with new ideas.
Right.
What style are you? More of an American / Euro bistro type of vibe? Where do you get your inspiration here?
So I was French classically trained. So my inspiration is normally, the French kind of cuisine. But I learned real quick when I opened up my restaurant that wasn't going to fly. I was doing the French pretty food and the nouvelle cuisine, that kind of stuff.
Back in 2000.
In 2000,
yeah.
My customers are like, look,
We're a meat and potatoes town. We're a resort town, and I want my read the room. I want my meat on the same plate as my vegetables and potatoes.
And I remember seeing your stuff. I mean, you were still plating with that French enthusiasm. You would take a short rib and you would run it out with a sesame demi. I'm making that up, but it's along the lines of what I remember.
The stacks, you do a lot of stacks. You do.
How I was trained, and that's what I knew.
Your cabbage was julienne. Your carrots were julienne, right? All your verts was good.
And still are, but now
you got to read the room, and you got to realize what your clients want, and you can not educate them, but you can show them what you're made of, but you don't take them out of a zone where they're not comfortable. So you kind of adapt, and I'm still making myself happy, and I'm still training staff, and they're happy, they're learning, but my customers are also happy at the same time. So it's a balance.
And then you kicked out this banging ass burger day thing.
Oh,
right?
Burger Night! We're there all the damn time.
It keeps the place open, don't it?
The burgers came from when there was the great stock market crash. And a lot of we were just selling filet mignon and higher cuts of meat and stuff. And then everyone was like, where's my money? My stocks are gone. And so I says, well, let me put a burger on the menu and just see what happens. So I put a burger on, so couples would come in, and the ladies would still get the filet, and then the guys would get the burger. So they're mitigating the damages on the bill, on the check.
Yeah, happy wife, happy life, right?
Yeah. And the burgers started selling. I said,
try it one night and just see what happens. So we just picked a slow night, which was Tuesdays, and we said, well, let's do burger night. And people were literally lining out the door for these burgers. And then we just kind of started elevating the presentation, and we did them on burger boards, and we had the hand-cut fries that we did, because most people were just buying frozen fries.
And he's taking that French influence, that mindset, going back to where you can put a burger out, but if you're doing it in such a way that the ingredients are right and it's done perfect, there's something to be said about that. Like I started doing my Italian Heritage Mondays because a lot of my stuff, all of my stuff, my cooking is actually Italian regional food. It's not the American Italian.
Right. Okay.
So, but I do have a little passion for Italian American food because I am Italian American. My family's Italian, of course, but I was born in America and I grew up on a lot of that food. Going to my friend's house who were third and fourth, fifth generation, going to fairs, festivals, everything I did growing up. So I do miss chicken parm and all that stuff, meatballs, shit like that. So we do it now Monday nights here, and people love it. I mean, it's one of our busier nights in the week now. We get the reservations all through the weekend. So I call it Meatball Madness or Meatball Monday because I do a Wagyu meatball. And we take a meatball, we put our twist, we elevate it, and it's to die for. It melts in your mouth. It took me about 3.5 months to perfect the recipe. I'm not kidding you, just every day taking a little bit up, third out of that, third into this, trying to get that right consistency. But it works, and it's taking something as simple as a hamburger, putting a chef's twist and spin on it, basically love and passion, doing it the right way and staying true to it and putting it out. And people like you have been going there for 20 years.
I've been going there for 25 years. But also I think you're the only place that has beef Wellington.
So that was, so I get homesick. Yeah. So we put fish and chips on the menu, and, they kind of argue, I'm from England. So who's going to do better fish and chips than I do?
We need to go there.
Well, it is. And you have the Napoleon stack. There's terms that are brought in.
But like the beef Wellington, I do it like I learned it when I was in England. So we have it, the French pastry sheets, foie gras. Instead of doing a duxelle with the mushrooms, which is just ground up, I do, sauteed mushrooms and put it on there.
Sure.
And it's baked right, and it's
nice, amazing.
And it's delicious, and people love it, and it's
it's comfort. It's elevated comfort food.
Yeah. And it's an art, and you can't get that everywhere, so it's nice. Some people come there special occasion.
I'm going to get the beef Wellington, or you can get a burger, or it's.
Yeah. Well, you've diversified the menu a lot since the beginning, but I've loved seeing it and having some of those influences because there was only one other French restaurant here in the early 2000s that was on the Boulevard. It was Napoleon's.
I
think it was Napoleon's.
Yep.
That was the only other kind of French.
Well, and I worked
La Chambord was there too.
La Chambord.
I worked at La Chambord before I opened Cobalt.
Okay.
So that was one of the first.
It was the first restaurant because when I came here, I wasn't sure where to work, and I was with my sister, and
I had this magazine called The Portfolio magazine.
Great magazine. I missed that
And they
magazine.
had the top 10 restaurants, and I just faxed my CV.
You're like,
Fax to these 10 restaurants.
delivered it on horse and pony.
Yeah, and I remember it was the Sheraton Hotel in Norfolk called me back. Coastal Grille called me back.
Wow.
And Frank Spapin at Champort.
He called me back, and I said, well, let me go meet these people. And I met with them, and I met with Frank, and he was this larger-than-life guy. He's from Belgium. He spoke 7 languages. He came over for similar reasons to Virginia Beach. He met a lot of guys in Marbella in Spain through the Navy, and he came and set up shop here. He was like, oh, you know, you say you're all these things, and you worked in London, and you've got this great CV, and
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I'll just work for you, and we'll see. He goes, what do you want to get paid? I said, nothing. I said, I'll work for you for 2 weeks, for a month, free. And if you like me, I'll stay, and I'll tell you how much I want. If you don't, well, it's nice to meet you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it. So after about 3 days, it was like, okay, how much you want? You know.
Yeah, perfect.
'Cause,
That's right.
You know, I was who I said I was. And I
That's
did
good.
What I said I was
That's
going to do.
funny.
So what about your Jamaican roots? Your parents are from Jamaica.
So
Does that come into your cooking?
not often. More comes into my temperament when I get
Yeah.
Sometimes. French and Jamaicans are similar. You know, the
Right,
French,
right.
French
Throwing
are
things.
throwing copper pans, and
Yeah.
you know, the Jamaicans have the machete. But no,
Right.
It's sometimes I'll do a little Caribbean twist on food, but not very often.
I went to Jamaica for the first time 2 years ago, maybe,
Yeah.
and I fell in love with the food. I didn't realize how kind of close it is to European style or Mediterranean style of cooking. I mean, it does have its own twist too. It does have a lot of French influence.
Right.
It's got influences everywhere, but it's definitely its own thing.
Yeah.
You know how they cook their fish, the whole fish, all that, the oxtail, the slow braising,
a lot of it's using the organic produce as well.
sure, that's a problem. Yeah.
Grandparents
Which is
are
makes
from
different.
the country, like they're up in the country,
Yeah.
St. Catherine and Clarendon, and up there in the hills, and you literally live.
They're getting good ingredients by mistake.
Well, it's just right there. I mean, you,
there.
just,
Go
you got sugar
outside.
cane. You just pick out sugar cane. Are you hungry? You reach up, you grab an orange. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have callaloo. You greens,
Isn't that
and
something?
Yeah.
You know,
It's amazing.
It's all there.
It's
When I
fresh.
go- yeah,
I love
it's-
that, and
yeah.
yeah, dining there. Like I loved the places we stayed were pretty small. Like they were smaller, so we got a little bit more of a local feel.
Yeah.
And then obviously we went and ate food trucks. Like I try and go.
Right.
You know, you want to go side of the road somewhere,
That's the
especially
best
there
stuff.
because like the chicken, it's just amazing. And you
they-
know I'm a wimp. I can't do spices, so I tried, and they were very kind to me in Jamaica to help me out with the chicken. So I was like, all right, cool. But yeah, I love going to those places and seeing it. Yeah, you haven't done anything really with that on your menu. I'm
Not really.
surprised.
Well, more with the growing. So like we grow a lot of our own produce now. But my grandparents, they raise their own chickens and goats and pigs and cows and stuff, and they're
Growing produce.
And there's nothing better than that. I mean, you
And-
can't even
no,
you can't mimic that.
When I was growing up in England, my mom was always like, "Oh, come out in the garden and grow this," and I was like, "No, I don't want to do this." And then now, that's all I want.
You have a huge garden. Yeah, you
I
have
have-
your own garden.
got-
I've seen lots of
yeah.
photos of.
Now flipping the script here, out of all the things you do and the work you do and the hard work you do and put in, you always get the good reviews, the good feedback. And there's got to be times where you get just so pissed off because somebody is going to sneak in there with some bullshit and you just want to freak on them. Some bad reviews are good because you learn from them. Others, though, let's talk about the others, though.
So some bad reviews are good. Some are constructive, and I take that constructive criticism.
You have
And
to.
I show those reviews to my team, and I said,
Okay.
"Look, they were right. They called us out on this." And then
I call that a good review.
That's a good review.
I call it a good review. You have good reviews, and then you have those
Yeah.
good reviews. It is
So
what it is.
The reviews that I think you're talking about, where people
Jerk offs.
just want to either hear the sound of their own voices,
Yes, jerk off.
or they think that they're journalists and they want to write.
Correct.
and they do
Food
better.
critics.
I try not to pay too much attention to those because I don't want to waste my energy on those people. I'd rather waste my energy on the people who've given us the good reviews.
Yes.
And that they come in and they tell us why they like it, and then we put our energy into that,
Which is
so that
like
they keep coming back.
95%.
Because what's the point in putting your energy into the haters?
Yeah.
Because you focus on them, and they're taking your energy, and then you're taking that good energy away from the people who support you.
Sure. So
That's
this
my feeling.
It's a great feeling. It's a great thought because we do the same thing. So for every 100 great reviews we have, there's always the one or
always
two. And the ones you're talking about that are constructive, that's a good review because we can learn from it. If there's an obvious issue that they have, we right away we find it. And that to me is where I spend my energy. The good reviews are a pat on the back saying, "Phew, we did it.
Right.
We made it through another customer. We did what we were supposed to do. They were happy. Perfect." The ones that have the constructive, those are the ones I focus on because there's fixable situations, solution there, and we can make solutions, and then that makes us better in the long run, right? Because you add those up, it becomes you get better and better.
Sometimes the bad ones, they talk about the cost. Well, I think this is too expensive, and I think the shrimp were too small or whatever. And those people, they don't know what our costs are.
Okay, well, check this out, bro.
Yeah.
She's going to read
It's literally like this review was meant for this conversation.
All right, so this is what I do at the end of each show. I'll take a ridiculous review because it's not
1 star.
It's fun. If you don't know how to have fun with it either, you're falling a victim to the hater too.
Yeah.
You got to know how. You know what? You're an idiot. I don't like the way you're talking either. You don't like my place. I don't like your review. You suck. So let's do it. So we like to have a little fun with it because people love this segment.
They do.
She's going to read a review that is about me. I may have read it. I'm sure I have at some point, but I haven't read it today.
He responds.
So I'm going to respond to it. I'm going to respond to it wholeheartedly.
Too.
Do you respond to these
online? He does online too.
Yes,
you should read it. It's great. It's like a whole...
I do. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care because it's now, as everyone says, it's an open forum. Okay, let's do it.
But does that start a thing?
They love it. I think some people actually put some bad ones on there just to hear my
Just to get him.
Okay. Because they change them. They put them back to 5 after. They do.
They're like,
am I wrong? Okay, right. They do. They put it back to 5. Like, hey, you did it. We got him.
All right. I just had to know. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It doesn't affect us, though.
There was 2. I was going to choose from 2.
Just pick one.
This one is very applicable, so it was almost meant to be. So 1-star review. This is Jeff from Chesapeake, Virginia.
My name's Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. My name is Jeff.
My name's Jeff.
My name is Jeff. All right. We were a few minutes early and sat in the bar lounge area until seated. Staff was plentiful and our server was very attentive. Appetizers were a challenge to choose as it was not clear if some of the items were not cooked or only seared. We had to ask regarding several items. The menu should clarify this on each item. Our entrees came out, and I was shocked that the scallops on my plate were a total of 3, but the plate is $40. My wife's halibut came out with only 2 ounces of fish, a scallop that was larger than the 3 I had on my plate, and a prawn. She ordered the dish wanting the halibut based on the waitress recommendation, had no idea there was additional seafood. It's one of the popular dishes on your menu. She was not a fan of the shrimp. I observed the floor manager go to many tables. We did not get a visit. My one-word summation would have been underwhelming, in quotes. This was a custom special occasion, my birthday, and one of my wife's gifts to me. The $170 tab, no drinks ordered, was over the top for the meals we received. Only our second time at Luce, probably our last. Noise and decor was good, but the subwoofer was getting too much of a workout. I don't know what the goal is for the music, but the thump of the bass was readily present. That's just an odd way to end this, but let's break it down if we go to the first. So we're going to break down this in sections.
Yeah, let's do it. It's great. So now I'm going to respond.
We're going to talk about the halibut.
Oh, yeah, watch. I'm going there right now.
So first of all,
$27.99.
Should you clarify on your menu if items are only seared and not cooked? Now that does indicate they're cooked. It's just...
Well, before that, they said that the staff was very attentive and very helpful.
Right.
So if you've got a question...
Sure.
Ask the staff. They'll tell you.
I write this off to being embarrassed that they didn't know what they were getting. So on my menu, the thing that's raw is what they're talking about is a tuna crudo or a carpaccio.
Crudo,
so you should know what you're doing. It's a language barrier, perhaps. However, when it says on there,
it says sashimi or
raw crudo. That's raw. You need to know your room, read the room,
right,
and understand what level of dining you're in, and understand the language barrier of where you're going. If I go to a Chinese restaurant, I'm probably going to assume I don't know a lot of the things. Right. I don't speak the language, Cantonese or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's that. So learn what it is you want. Crudo means raw. That's Italian.
We're in agreement.
We're in agreement.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So entrees came out, and we had this whole discussion on scallops, which is why this is perfect. 3 scallops. The plate, $40.
Okay, 3 scallops. These are U8 scallops. For all those who don't understand what that means there are 8 units per pound. There's 8 scallops in a pound. You got 3 of them, which means these scallops are like buttermilk biscuits. Yeah. There's 3 of them, okay? Those scallops are also break down to about $50 a pound.
Yeah.
Right now. It's ridiculous. So that's the whole problem.
That's a good portion.
It's a huge portion. It's ridiculous.
Have an appetizer. You have a nice entree, gives you room for dessert.
Sure.
We're not trying to overfill.
You're not trying to overfill.
No.
You're not trying to send people home with takeout boxes, because that's an additional cost for us as well. That
right.
we realize that we have to shoulder the cost of your
We try to get you
to
eat it all.
And your bags and everything else. Sorry.
Right. No, you're good. No, we get it. So
$40.
we're riling you up, baby.
So that's
it's on. I want some Jamaican to come out.
Nah, man. Nah, sir.
Just give that man a machete. Let's go to town. All right, wife's halibut came out. 2 ounces of fish, a scallop, and a prawn.
Okay, so
that's a different dish.
Let me hit this
it's
up.
Not just
I'm
halibut.
gonna break down some more numbers for you folks out there. U8 scallop is 1 size of a buttermilk biscuit. It's not 2 ounces of halibut. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. That dish right there is a pesce misto. Misto in Italian means a mix, so it's a fish mix. So you're gonna get a U8 scallop, 4-ounce piece of halibut, because who the hell would cut a 2-ounce piece? It's a nugget, it's a fish nugget, and we wouldn't waste the other 2 on nothing. So it's a 4 or 8 ounce pieces is how we break down a 50-pound side of halibut. If anyone knows what that is, at $27 a pound. So we have to get 100 or 200 pounds of it to break it down 3 times a week. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So $27.99 is a price of halibut right now, and that's why it's priced. Now, the prawn they're talking about, you'll laugh at this. I get U3 prawns, full prawns.
Not a shrimp. It's a prawn.
It's a prawn.
Right, difference, little spike. So a U3 shrimp means there's 3 of them to a pound. It's the size of a lobster, a small lobster, okay? So I don't know what more Jeff wanted on his plate. But it's
$40? Is that what
No, so the scallop dish is 40. The
scallop, the scallop dish is 40, and the other one is actually like 39.
it's like 40. So
It's like
say
$40.
Okay.
Inexpensive.
It's inexpensive for what it is. I mean, and it's beautifully done. I mean, these broccolini in it, hand tossed, yes,
Lord.
hand
They
tossed
get vegetables and
breadcrumbs. It's a roasted dish in a beurre blanc type of
Again, they don't understand
champagne.
our cost.
They're just not understanding the language of what the dish is supposed to be. So they said they asked. I mean, it's apparently you didn't ask
Delicious.
the right questions. So she's not a fan of that. Floor manager didn't get to their table, so they're pissy about that.
Probably didn't need to.
It probably
wasn't
everything looked like it
interest.
was going good. They're not going to bother you if
We
you're
don't
on
do
a
that here.
date for your birthday. They
This is
leave
not
you alone
right.
here.
This is not Bennigan's or anything like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Our managers don't check into every single table. We will stop by on anniversaries, birthdays. We will stop in if there's time to check in if everything's going okay.
Yeah.
But typically, our job is to leave you alone and let you dine. We have so many steps of service here that you don't need another one. You know, there's between our SAs, our servers assistants, our servers, our hosts, our hostesses, our maitre d', there's
So-
plenty of people.
There's a
that
lot of
come to
people
your
touching
table.
your table.
Here.
Yeah,
I-
there's a lot of people.
And people touch like it's, the wine person will come by or the manager will just stop by and say hi. But you don't need to be
You don't need to be
sit up at
right
the table for 20
for sure.
They're not refilling your water every
And
30
and
seconds.
going back down to where they spent $170 for food.
Yeah, this
you
is
got to
what I-
weigh easy, bro.
No.
How
but
the hell
that's
did you do
thing.
that?
Two?
No, but for 2 people, your dishes were both $40, and you spent $170 with no drinks. So
apps.
that's only half.
Well, they got
So
apps.
what other $80 in food did you order that you did not mention in this review?
Well, right, and as far as the base, we are an up-tempo restaurant. The weekends we have a 3-piece jazz band on Friday and Saturday night in the dining room.
Yeah.
Other times we play a Euro type of a trendy house type of style of music. It works very well for everyone else that comes here besides Jeff.
Well, I mean, you'd think you'd like the base. It's
He
like
said he'd been
extra.
here once before, right? This was
Yeah.
the second time.
This is their
so-
second time.
How did they not know what to expect?
I don't understand. That's the question. That's why I read these out.
Right.
Because somewhere out there, someone who read this might be watching this show, and I want them to understand that we have the same accessibility to call you out as you do us. And it's a two-way street now. That's the beauty of it. And a lot of restaurateurs are afraid to do that because they don't want to open that can of worms. Me, I'm a worm can opener.
You are
from way
you
back.
fishing. You're
I'm
fishing all the
I'm looking
time.
for trout, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Halibut.
Well, sometimes it just gets into this back and forth.
It does.
There's
It does
too much
banter.
energy.
Yeah.
It's,
Sure.
you know,
No, you're absolutely right about that.
And then they want to rise out of you.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they got us.
Do you want the good meal or do you want the rise out of the chef?
Sure. Yeah.
You can't. You can
Oh, I
can
know,
have
I
your
get that.
scallop
Oh,
and
yeah.
eat it too.
Now these things make me laugh. I don't. When I look at that thing, that person had a bad experience and it escalated, and they had to throw in the base because the story just needed to really have that final
Sure that
punch.
they had a bad experience. They didn't say that the food
Or your
tasted
birthday
bad or
really
they didn't
sucked.
enjoy it.
I'm
They
not
just-
sure,
They
yeah.
just said that they weren't agreeable with the price or the size.
So that's 1 star though. That's worth 1 star. That hurts
No,
our whole
that's
team.
not-
That hurts our
That's-
team. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that hurts our team. For Yelp, you have to go 15 5-star reviews in a row to get your next point.
Yes.
Okay. So if we're on 14 and you just did this, Jeff, because you didn't understand it, you just took us all the way back to 0.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
your
and my team works their
uneducated
ass off. So
self.
that's why I get on here, and that's why I talk shit to people on that, because it's you not only major point, but you just screwed our fucking entire team if you're the 14th and that's happened multiple times.
Our system is interesting. One of my best friends owns a restaurant in town, and they always rave about his restaurant. And it was great. The entrance was great, and the flowers and the environment and the service and the staff and it was really good, and we had a good time. And the best fried shrimp, and 4 stars. They'll never give him 5 stars.
Same thing here.
What is it with the 4 stars?
I don't know. It's a new trend because this just started happening in the last 6 months. Because now it's if you look at my reviews, everything is perfect, immaculate, best time ever. Here's all the pictures. Look at this food, 4 stars.
I think they're saving the 5th star for like when they go to La Bernardin or when they go to
there's already people doing that.
I know, but that's what I think.
I think so, maybe. Yeah.
That is.
And these are also the super Yelp. What do they call them? The
super
elite
Yelpers.
The elite
like
Yelpers.
The elite.
Whatever
that is. But
elite.
Yeah. So that was on par for the whole conversation with you today.
But that was great. Yeah. Thank you everybody who does take their time to put in a review. Period.
Or understand food costs.
Right. If you put in the time to make a review, that means you took the time to come here in the first place.
Yes.
But if you are the ones of the thousands who put in the good reviews, we truly appreciate you. You are our fuel, and he can attest to that. And the ones who do have actual issues out of our control, food cost is not in our control. We would love to give you as much as you can for less because we want more people coming. So let's get that out of here.
If you have a bad issue, please call us directly or email us directly.
Correct. There's a chef or a manager.
Yeah, not necessarily put it out on.
Sure. It'd be if you're really wanting to help.
Yeah.
That's it. But if you want to make your cause better, you'd probably get more results out of having a good review than a bad one because a lot of people brush through the bad ones to read the good ones. No one wants to know where they're going for a bad time. You know what I mean? So if you got 4.7 stars, they're not going to look for the 2 that were bad because it's so
I don't mind a shaky review in there anyway because if you always get good reviews, good, no one's going to believe it. They're just going to think it's your mom and your aunt sending in nice reviews.
Right.
You got to.
So tomorrow I'm going to go on yours and just leave you a really bad review that you can respond to, and I'll change it later just for fun.
So that'd be
just
great.
Screw with Alvin. Don't do that.
No,
Please
don't do that. So if you're going to take a review on somebody, take your time and do it right. Really pay attention to what it is you're doing to them and the team. Sometimes your words really aren't going to be as seen as you thought, but that stupid 1 star does mess something up.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're trying to do, success is in you.
It is.
But as of right now, I would like to say this. I would like to say, tell them where we can find you.
There you go.
We are.
Where's he going?
We are Cobalt Grille in the Hilltop North Shopping Center in Virginia Beach, corner of Laskin Road and First Colonial.
And online.
Online, we are cobaltgrille.com with the E, so COBALTGRI.
Really?
Cobalt Grille.
Cobalt
charge a
Grille.
little more when you're grilly than when you're grill.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
It's like when they call it pommes frites. You can charge more.
You
than
could charge
French
more.
fries.
Okay,
Right.
I like it.
So
Add an
that's
E
where
to
we're
your
at.
name and charge more.
Instagram, we're Cobalt Grill VB.
Yep.
All
And
right.
they have great. So meet me there for burger night. Whoever's
Tuesday night's
going.
burger night.
Make
Go
a
check 'em
comment
out.
below what else you
Tell 'em about our
see.
martinis.
Yes,
Don't
and
forget
the
to hit like and
martinis.
subscribe on this show.
Shut
Give us all the support. Hit like and support on this show, and you know where to find us. We'll be here every time. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook. Where else we at, Chris? Tell them.
On Apple, Spotify, all of the above, anywhere you search Burnt Hands Perspective. Is that okay?
That was nice. That was bedroom voice. I love. That's not it.
No,
I don't know your bedroom voice. How the hell do I know?
I can.
I'm
never mind.
just assuming.
It's the end of the show. We do
Damn
not
it.
need to get
All
the
right,
climax
whatever.
at the end of the show, so we will
The
wait.
sun's still
Thanks.
out.
All right, the
sun's
sun is
still
still
out.
up. It's early. I'll
All
do
right,
that
great.
later.
Well, listen, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Ciao for now.
Thank you, Alvin. Ciao.
You guys.